What's up, everyone? Justin Melo and Justin Graver here, back with another exclusive YouTube breakdown for the Music City Audible channel. And today we're breaking down film of draft prospect Notre Dame offensive lineman Joe Alt, a projected top 10 pick, widely mocked at pick 7 overall to the Tennessee Titans. Justin, how's it going? I am excited to get into this breakdown.
I'm doing well. We're doing something new that we haven't really done for our viewers and our listeners as well. But we're watching Joe Alt tape. We're diving into all 22. This is good tape, that we've got our hands on. And if this goes well, and we think it will, and if you guys like it, we're gonna do a whole bunch of these for a bunch of prospects that the Titans might consider at number 7. Not just tackles, wide receivers. We're gonna do guys they might consider at 38. We got big plans for this series. We're really excited about it, and we think you guys are gonna love it.
Yeah, so we pulled Joe Alt's tape against Ohio State. Basically, we're going to watch this game together, Notre Dame, Ohio State, all 22 film, to break down Joe Alt, the prospect. As things pop up in this game, we're going to just give our observations here and break down what this prospect is, his strengths, his weaknesses, and what he could bring to the Titans at number 7 overall. So as we get into the tape here, let's just go over the prospect really quick. And as we get into it here, I'll just start playing some of the film, but let's talk about Joe Alt as this video gets going here. Joe Alt is, he's going to be lined up at left tackle here, number 76, so keep your eyes peeled for 76 on your screen, but this guy is a massive human being, measured in at 6'8.5" at the combine, 321 pounds, has 10-inch hands, 34.25-inch arms for an 82.75-inch wingspan, and he measured in as an extremely athletic prospect. 13th most athletic tackle ever measured in the RAS database. He ran a 5.05 40 with a 2.93 20-yard split, 1.73 10-yard split, really fast short shuttle, 4.51, and a pretty decent 3-cone for a man of his size, 7.31. Explosive broad jump over 9 feet, and an average vertical jump of 28 inches, which for a man who's 6'9", that is still a pretty decent jump. So the 13th most athletic offensive tackle out of 1,330 players from 1987 to 2024, a 9.91 RAS. Justin, what are some of Joe Alt's pros and cons here as we get to diving into this tape?
Well, how long do you have for the pros? I think. I'm already trying not to get distracted by the tape because I'm loving the hell out of this. We picked the best game. Ohio State, they got 2 rushers here, right? 44 and 33, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimalua, who are future draft picks. JT was getting some first round buzz before he decided to go back, and Sawyer is going to be probably a top 75 pick himself. Early on in this process, the draft process, we heard a lot about how it was Joe Alt versus Olu Fashanu, right? It's still that for the most part. It's changed a bit, but early on, we heard a lot about how Joe Alt is the more technically savvy prospect, and Olu Fashanu is the better athlete. Well, Joe Alt went to the combine and said, hey, I'm a really good athlete as well, right? Those numbers are astounding. Look, 40 time, who cares for a tackle? Doesn't mean I'm not impressed that it was a 5.05 for a guy that's like 325 pounds, okay?
Right.
You're talking about arm length, 34.25, no problems there, and you see that on tape. You see that on this tape.
Yeah.
With his ability to keep opposing pass rushers at bay. 44 is a good rusher.
You see You see that on this rep here as he gets his initial punch landed there, and look at how much space there is for him to keep the pass rusher at bay. Using those hands, counter of a spin move, he's ready for it.
Doesn't bother him one bit. Doesn't bother him one bit.
He's got this nice pocket set up, and then his quarterback doesn't do him any favors by rushing back outside. But
no. It's not a Sam Hartman tape, thankfully, right? It's a Joe Alt tape that we're watching. Just super impressive. Okay, super impressive. The pros, as I said, footwork is outstanding. Look at this rep here. JT's giving him some good push. 44's got a good bull.
And that's one of the things that, if you read a scouting report on Joe Alt, and we can see it on this rep, the one thing he may struggle with at times is power. He doesn't have the strongest anchor. He's pretty good at recovering in these instances, but he can get pushed back. I think that's the one weakness that you'll find with him. And you see it here. He's doing a good job trying to maintain leverage and trying to hold his ground, but the rusher is walking him back.
Right? He's buying his quarterback time. Get the ball out. Get the ball out.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing you have to remember when it comes to offensive line play is you're expected to win for, between 2 and 3 seconds probably. If you lose in less than 2.5 seconds, you're doing a terrible job. But if you can hold your block for 3 seconds, it's on your quarterback to get the ball out. It's on your receivers to get open. So even though he is conceding a lot of ground here, he doesn't give up a pressure. He doesn't give up a sack. He does a nice job trying to maintain that leverage, pinning his feet back. He could get a little lower here, I think. There's a little bit of waist bending going on in this rep. I think you'd like to see him get a little bit lower to stabilize against this bull rush, but that's something that, if the Titans pick him at 7, Bill Callahan gets his hands on him. This is the kind of prospect you want working with Bill Callahan because he has all the elite tools. He already has, a very refined skill set. Getting him in the room with one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time is only going to help him.
And the waist bending, that's a thing that pops up on occasion at times. I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the very, very few negatives
we got a bad rep
that
here.
I had on my scouting report. Can I talk about some of the intangibles that to some people might mean nothing? And it's stupid, but let's have a laugh about it.
One sec. Before you do that, we just got to a rep that I think we should break down because it's not a very good one here. He whiffs in this run block. He gets swam over. As you were just mentioning, the waist bending can get him at times. This is a great example. It makes him susceptible
to the swim. It's exactly what I said.
And there it is. You can see him. He's totally leaned over. He doesn't really have his head up or his back straight. He's leaning forward, again, waist bending, and he does get pretty abused on this rep. This is one of the few weakness or bad reps you'll find on Joe Alt's tape. But anyway, go in on the intangibles there. I just wanted to point that one out while we were on it.
I like my offensive lineman being from like North Oaks, Minnesota. Isn't that where you want them to be? Like, you don't want them growing up next to you in Los Angeles, California. I want those, like, small town, Midwestern kids. Like, that's what you want in a lineman, okay? And, his father was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Played for 12 years for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's in the Chiefs Hall of Fame, his dad, if you didn't know that.
2-time Pro Bowler.
The kid is just O-lineman through and through. And doesn't Notre Dame always feel like one of those throwback O-lineman schools?
Oh, here we go. Getting out in space on this one. We don't really get to see it a lot because there's some misdirection going on, but you love to see him go out in space. He's one of those guys that is usually on balance and on time, hitting his landmarks when he does have to get out in space, and he'll line up his blocks and nail them. He's not a guy who whiffs a lot out there in space, and you'll see that athleticism on tape. I wish we'd got to see a little more of this rep with Notre Dame running like 2 screen actions on each side of the field, but I'm sure there'll be more coming.
And when you watch him on those reps, when you do see him get a chance to get out in space, by the way, you realize he's a really good fit for his own blocking scheme.
Yeah, which Notre Dame ran.
Right. You realize how good he is at getting to those landmarks and cutting off. And that's the system Titans are running, right? With Brian Callahan as head coach. You mentioned Bill Callahan as the offensive line coach, one of the gurus, essentially, of the wide zone system. So he's a great fit for it. And we can talk a little about the Titans' need there too, right? Like I mean, if you're tuning into this, you're probably a Titans fan and you're aware. They haven't done anything at the position yet. That's what prompted you and I to make him the first prospect that we're watching for this series. I mean, Rand Carthon commented on it the other day, a great story with Jim Wyatt. Wyatt had one-on-one with him, and said he had a text message from his daughter. Right, saying, hey, are we drafting the guy that everyone has us mock drafting? And it's very obvious why. You watch this tape, you combine it with the need that the Titans have at the position, and he's a no-brainer at number 7 if he's there.
This is a great rep here, working up to the second level in the run game. Here he is at left tackle. You'll see him climb and pick off this linebacker 35, and you'll notice like he's very under control in space. He's not like moving so fast that he can't line up his target. Once he gets hands on 35, the 35 is completely taken out of the play. And this is the thing, if your frontline blocks if your front linemen make those blocks they're supposed to make and the back can get up to the second level, you need blocks like what Joe Alt is giving here to create explosive plays in the run game. You don't want to be churning out 3 yards, 4 yards per carry. You want to pop some big plays. Watch how Joe Alt gets his hands on 35 here and does not let him impact this play at all.
And a note while you do that, 35, that's Tommy Eichenberg, I believe.
Yep. Downhill
That's
thumper.
A draftable linebacker in this very class.
Absolutely. So you can see it here. I mean, I just love the way that he lines up his target and how under control he is as he approaches here. You can see his footwork. look at that footwork. It's like he's on the bags in practice. You see those things translate into the game. That's exactly
He
what
is
you want to
zeroed
see.
in
Yeah.
on that target.
What a rep.
And it leads to a good game on the ground against a tough Ohio State front seven. Michael Hall, another interior guy on this defense that's probably a top 50 pick. So this is a good defense.
Yeah. Here he is against the bull rush again, against the long arm, working his man around the arc. You love to see this. Just continues to fight. The footwork, again, it's really good because you can see he does get pushed back a little bit on this play like we've talked about against the bull rush, against that long arm. Gets knocked back there, but look at how he reestablishes his base here. Now that is the leverage you want to see. This is what we didn't see on that rep earlier in the game. Just almost at like a 45-degree angle with his body here, able to push, use the ground to create leverage, and then work the rusher around the arc, take him completely out of the play. This is textbook stuff.
Gives Hartman enough time too. So he steps up in the pocket there. Not a great decision by the QB at the end of the play, but that's what you want, right? You want him to give him time, push him around the arc. Non-factor on that play. Essentially a non-factor.
And then you're facing a different type of rush here. Same guy, but he's not giving you the long arm this time. But I love how patient Alt is with his punch here. He doesn't try to beat the rusher with his hands too early. You know, he's ready. He's got great footwork. He's on balance. He's ready. He's waiting for the rusher to declare. What is he going to do? Is he going to rush outside? Is he going to rush inside? What kind of move is he trying to pull? And as he sees he's going outside, now it's time to get your hands on him. Hit that punch on the outside shoulder, and again, work him up the arc. For some reason, Hartman is just like backpedaling. I guess 50 got beat pretty bad, interior pressure, so he can't step up on this play. But that's what you want to see from your tackles. Run those rushers around the arc. Create that pocket for your quarterback.
This is such a fun matchup with him in 44. I mean, I love this one when I watched it a couple of months ago. And you said it. I mean, he gave him an opportunity to step up into the pocket. If 50 doesn't get beat there, that's the move Hartman makes, and it buys him the time that he needs, right, to get a better throw off. So that's what this Titans offense needs, right? To give Will Levis an opportunity to step up into clean pockets and make good throws. He's going to have two alphas on the boundaries, right, on the sides of him, right, with DeAndre and Ridley. You give him that time, he's going to step up and make a throw.
Yeah. Here we get to see him, in condensed space here. Notre Dame backed up deep against their own goal line. Just how much push can you get in the run game here? Can you generate movement? And obviously there's a combo block with him and the left guard against 91 here, but they get the space. And look how Joe Alt gets almost under 91's shoulder pads to what they say, low man wins. If you're getting under a guy's shoulder pads, he's not going to be lower than you, and Joe Alt is able to push him back here. You can see 91's feet just staggering backwards. Notre Dame able to push this pile a little bit, create some breathing room. So Joe Alt crucial on this play too. And the thing that you'll read about him a lot, you'll hear people say a lot, is he doesn't have the most power. He's not the strongest. He's more. Greg Cosell has said this a few times. He's been on 104.5 and talking to Buck Rising about these prospects, and said that Joe Alt wins with finesse, doesn't always win with power. And some people have taken that as a negative. And to me, like, that's not necessarily a negative. I think you see plenty of power. We saw the push there on that goal line rep. He's not the strongest guy, and he does sometimes, lose his anchor against a bull rush, but I think he has plenty of strength to be effective. He's not like Garrett Bradbury, who was an all finesse player and has struggled with some power rushers at the NFL level.
And on top of it, when Cassell says what he says, I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I would like to think it's similar to my opinion of him, whereas he wins by being so technically savy.
Right.
He's so good and smart at playing the position. Which is ultimately, like, goes back to what I said about the blueprint, right? Like, he was born to play this position, and you could see it in the way he's spent the time developing his traits.
And you can see this one. This is a reach block. It's not a very difficult reach block because of where the defender is, but when the defender's on the inside here and you got to push the block outside, you got to reach inside and turn him here. That's called a reach block, and this is a textbook reach block. Now, again, the defender kind of comes outside already, so it's not like he has to really turn him that much, but you can see from the technical refinement here as he sets his feet outside, using those long arms that he has to create that space, and he gives up no ground on this play and allows the running back to squirt through the hole. There's some other guys who don't necessarily make their blocks. Linebackers are swarming, but Joe Alt does everything in his power to create a run lane on this play.
And quick note again, that was 91, right? That's Tyleik Williams. That's a good interior defender that will be drafted as well. I think he was eligible this year, if memory serves me correctly. They all went back. Everyone at Ohio State went back, essentially. But that's a draftable kid, man. 3 sacks this past season for 91, Tyleik Williams.
Right. And that's why we picked this game, because it's against, a bunch of NFL level competition. You can see what he does against small school guys when he's totally dominant. Notre Dame didn't play too many small school teams, but it's nice to see him against true, the best competition in the NCAA. This is another great rep here. This is him picking up a twist on the outside here. You got 44.
Initially handles 44. Look at him handle 91 right after.
44 crashes inside, 91 loops around. He recognizes it immediately. Look at where his head is. Look at where his eyes are.
Look at that. Look where his head is.
Sees it before it's even really developed. Picks him up. Anchors. Again, gives up a little bit of ground against this bull rush, but not too much. He doesn't actually end up giving up the pressure. He's almost in his quarterback's lap, but he knows how far he has to move back. And this is where he gets that leverage again, almost at a 45-degree angle with his body, and keeps the rusher at bay.
This is an outstanding rep. This is an outstanding rep. Beginning to end.
One more time. Pass off the inside man, pick up the looper. Man, this guy is going to be a franchise-level left tackle on the outside.
Outstanding rep. And it goes for a small gain, but you know what? It goes for a gain.
Right. Here you're kind of out there working in space. Again, he uses that arm to stabilize. Never really gives up any ground. I mean, I'm not sure what the rusher is doing here, going so far outside. You're not going to impact the play from out there. But Alt does a good job holding him at bay. I think the biggest question with Joe Alt is, does he actually make it to 7? I mean, almost every mock you'll find now either has him going at 7 or going at 5 to the Chargers.
Yeah, I hope Harbaugh's not watching this tape with us, because it'd be hard. Did you see Harbaugh's answer the other day, by the way, about linemen?
Yeah, this is another outstanding rep. Yeah, Jim Harbaugh talking about how offensive line is the only position that you can't game plan for, the only position that it doesn't matter what the opponent does. If they're good, basically. And
impacts the rest of the team. He says,
right.
It's the only position where everyone else counts on them to be good on the offense.
Yeah, their performance doesn't rely on how good anyone else is, but everyone else's performance does rely on how good they are. This is another outstanding rep. Makes the block in space with, perfect timing to allow the running back to go through the lane here. You see the running back is bouncing this outside, right? So let's just diagram this one really quick. Running back's bouncing this outside. The guy Joe Alt's blocking here, 22, recognizes it and tries to get over here to cut off the lane for the rusher, but Joe Alt cuts him off, knocks him to the ground. Running back is able to scamper free just in time before the defender gets there. This is a fantastic rep. Let's watch it from start to finish. There, 22 starts moving, but Joe Alt doesn't give up on the play, gets 22 on the ground right as he's about to make a move to tackle the ball carrier. Ball carrier makes a nice move, runs right off the hip of Joe Alt, and yes, goes for a big gain. Sprung by Alt here, because 22 was about to make a great play. I mean, he was almost abandoning his gap because he saw where the running back was going and went over to make the play. But Alt is with him the whole way. Fantastic run blocking rep.
It's almost poetic justice, isn't it? That this rep comes just a couple plays after the pass pro rep that we talked about him handling the stunt. Because you want to talk about him versus pass protection. You want to talk about him as a run blocker. I mean, you just watch these reps essentially back to back, and you're going to come away incredibly impressed both times. It's
the intelligence and the recognition. It's like instant. He knows exactly where he needs to be, exactly what the defender's trying to do. And that comes from probably growing up the son of a Chiefs Hall of Fame offensive lineman. And his dad, if you don't know this story, Joe Alt actually played quarterback early in his career. His dad made him play quarterback because he wanted him to have a better understanding of how an entire offense works. And so he made him play quarterback. He switched to tight end in high school. And then between his senior year of high school and freshman year of college, he put on 70 pounds so he could play tackle when he got to Notre Dame.
Outstanding.
This is another great rep in run blocking here. Just riding 91, keeping him on his outside shoulder or his inside shoulder to create that outside lane, using his strength, using his powerful hands. I mean, you say he's not the strongest blocker. People say he's not the strongest blocker. Like, show them this rep here because he does not get overpowered. He controls where the defender is going on this play. He's got a little bit of the shoulder pad gripped there, but it's inside the chest plate, so it's totally legal. This is not holding. He's not outside his own frame. This is just another great rep.
And that's 91 again. Tyleik Williams, 295 pounds. 295-pound interior lineman. Look how he never loses control. maintains it throughout the entire. This is such a well executed block by the entire team.
Yeah,
In
it
all
is.
honesty, such a well executed up front, all five.
Here he is again with that reach block, and you can see the footwork on this play. He knows he's got to get inside 91's, from our view, left shoulder, from his view, the right shoulder. But look at the footwork as he sets up this block. He's got a 1-2 step there to get around. I mean,
So
this
smooth.
is just textbook. It's so smooth. And then he pins him out on his outside to create that running lane. I mean, he's got him fully under control again. Running back is a little indecisive here, which kind of turns this into a bad rep.
Yeah, if he commits earlier, I think he's going to hit something a little better.
Yeah. Running back does not make this play very, very well here. And it looks like a 91 is maybe two gapping here on the outside. Got that inside gap and the outside gap. Joe Alt is forcing him to have the outside gap almost completely. Then at the last second, as the running back is so indecisive, and Alt is now trying to move up to the second level because he thinks he's got this block and now it's time to climb. Sees 44 there. But then the 91's able to make the play. I think this one's on the running back because that was, for the first half of that rep is an outstanding technique.
No, it's a good block that's ruined, unfortunately, by some indecisiveness in the backfield.
Right. Here he is again in the second level, making a nice block against 22, the linebacker. Climbs. You can see the footwork again. See those little steps. Those little steps allow you to stay on balance, allow you to line up your target. Outside shoulder. Of course, the tight end over here
lined up the entire way.
Yeah. Tight end is missing a block and allowing the running back to get hit. But Joe Alt, we're looking at Joe Alt here. We're not looking at Notre Dame's run blocking. And Joe Alt is excellent on this play. All right, before we continue this breakdown, really quickly, I want to shout out our sponsor here. We're presented by Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville and Bluegrass Beverages in Hendersonville. Make sure to check out Sinkers Beverages and Bluegrass Beverages if you're in the Nashville area. This is a great local business that supports the Titans community. Sinkers has been voted the best liquor store in Nashville by the Nashville Scene 2 years in a row, and Bluegrass has been serving the local community for over 50 years. Just celebrated their 50th anniversary last year. Head to the Sinkers Beverages website and sign up for the In Crowd to get access to allocated wines and spirits, exclusive events, and early access to barrel releases and more. You want to check out Sinkers Beverages and Bluegrass Beverages, and they're on Uber Eats. Just open up your Uber Eats app, search Sinkers Beverages, have all the booze you need delivered straight to your home. So check out. Thanks again to our sponsors. All right, Justin, back to the breakdown here, looking at Joe Alt. Here he is again in the second level. Oh my God, look at him just move 35 from one side of the play to the other as the running back comes right behind him. This is unbelievable. Using the defender's leverage and momentum against them as 35 is working across the field to get to this play. Joe Alt's like, oh, you want to go that way? Okay, let's go that way. Let's go for a ride, buddy. It's the running back.
What do you think 35's thinking right before they engage? Because I'm looking at it right before they engage, and I'm like, this is not going well for 35. I mean, I can see it right here.
He's like, I'm going to put a little...
Here. This is not going to go... Look at the difference in size right there.
Yeah. And 35's like, okay, you can block me this direction. That's fine. The running back's in the middle of the field. I'm going to go make that play. And Joe Alt's like, no, you're not, buddy. I've got you under my control.
That's outstanding.
He's a mover. He's a mover in the run game, and he's an anchor in pass pro, although I don't know if that's the best word for it because he does not have the strongest anchor, as we've said a few times.
Well, he's athletic. I think that's the point. He's athletic, and he's smart, and he's strong enough.
Right. Here's another twist on the outside he has to pick up where he does give up some ground, but he recovers at probably the last possible second. Actually, it forces the defenders to run into each other there. And then 91 hits him with the bull rush. He's knocking feet with Hartman there. I think he gave up a little too much ground, but he does give Hartman enough space to get the throw off, although Hartman misses, maybe because he's being pushed onto his ass there.
That's a tough one,
Yeah.
A stunt against a 295 D lineman, an interior D tackle, you're going to concede something once in a while.
He holds his ground pretty well, but ultimately,
it's right there.
I think he does lose this rep. However, let's see how long it takes Hartman to get this ball off because 1 step, 2 step, hop, 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 like throw the ball.
Yeah, you got to get that out a little, or just a tad earlier at least.
I think he held his block for over 3 seconds there, but he did get beat at the last second. There's another rep in the run game. All right, look at this great rep. Another one against 91, just moving him out of the hole. Look at that. He was not ready to be hit
Lord.
from the side. I mean, it's a little bit unfair because 91 doesn't realize that the guard is pulling outside, so he's rushing up the B gap there. But Joe Alt just oh my goodness, just moves him out of the way, completely clears him from this play. Yeah, that's crazy. You see this a lot in Notre Dame's offense, the way that he sort of jumps from the outside alignment to the inside of a defensive lineman and pushes him to the outside like this, seals that inside wall. He's so good at it.
You can't ask for a better gap to run through, a bigger gap to run through as the running back than on that play right there.
I mean, look at that. You could drive a truck through that thing, as John Madden would say. We're on to the fourth quarter here. Again, Notre Dame backed up close to their own goal line. This is great protection by Joe Alt, allowing his quarterback time to move from one read to another read to another read. It looks like he goes through possibly 3 reads on this play.
This reminds me of the rep earlier, right? Look at the distance in the first one. Look at the distance created between them.
With the long arms.
And look at 44 try the spin counter again.
He's got him with the long arm. Joe's not giving up too much ground. He's pushing him around that arc. Counters with the spin, but the ball's already out, and he wasn't getting by with that move anyway.
It was the same rush from earlier that failed, was it not?
It was, yeah.
In the first quarter.
The long arm into the spin, yep. And it feels like most of the time, once Alt gets his hands on a defender, like they're not getting away. It's almost some of the stuff we heard about Peter Skoronski coming out of Northwestern last year. It's like once he gets his hands on you, the rep is won.
I mean, the strength, the length, placement, timing, you name it, right? The technical awareness, technical savviness.
This is a great rep.
It's a mountain to climb.
Yeah. The defender here does a great job actually disrupting Alt's initial punch here. He tries to get hands on him, but look at the defender counter, knock the arm away. Look how quickly Alt resets to get his hands on the defender here and just control him there. Again, look at that. He actually... He cedes a little bit of ground, but he recovers so well. He's actually able there to throw 44 back up the field.
Again, look at the flexibility in that right foot.
This is such an outstanding rep because the defender does a nice job. I mean, the ability to knock that punch away there.
Look at the angle that right foot ends up in.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Plant and push, man.
Yep.
Outstanding. It doesn't get much better than that rep right there.
No, it doesn't. I mean, that's a telltale rep of why you're talking about the guy that's going to be the first offensive lineman drafted in this class. Serious question. It doesn't matter, but if this wasn't a quarterback-heavy draft, we didn't have Marvin Harrison Jr. Are we talking about the number? I mean, even if we did have Marvin Harrison Jr., but we didn't have the quarterbacks.
We didn't have 4
Are we talking about the number 1 pick in the draft?
I mean, we're talking... If we didn't have any quarterbacks, you're talking first or second pick behind Marvin Harrison, maybe. Even with the quarterback.
When was the last time a receiver went number 1? Tackles go 1 all the time.
That's true. That's very true. This is a great rep, too, because it's one of those situations where, again, he sort of cedes ground to the bull rush. He's really late with his punch here, intentionally, again, waiting for the defender to declare his move. Does cede a little bit of ground there, but he's able to anchor really well this time. He actually gets that leverage and, again, moves the defender from going back towards the quarterback, gets him going the other way.
This is probably the best rep we've seen of his anchor.
I agree, of his anchor specifically.
Like all the other ones, it was like he just kind of, as we said, he did enough for him to get by, right? Bought a little time. No, this right here, this rep is elite anchor.
Bang, right there. That's all.
And it's against a good power guy who we've seen 44 throw the long arm a bunch of times, right? Like 44's got good power.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Notre Dame is trailing at this point in the game. 10-7, 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So more obvious passing situations.
Sense of urgency on
obviously
offense
makes things a bit more difficult. Here you see him, he's moved. We've seen this a few times, and we didn't call it out when it came up, but this is your typical left tackle spot. That's a tight end. Joe Alt is over here as an extra 6th offensive lineman almost. He's lined up outside the right tackle on the right side of your screen. Not really sure what the point of that was for Notre Dame, but the different alignments. Like if you had to move him to right tackle.
Just keep him guessing, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It looks like ball's going that way, right? If 76 is over there, well, it doesn't.
And then it doesn't, right? I love this jump set here. Watch his footwork. Jumps out of his stance.
Boom.
Or jumps into his stance. And again, the hand fighting. 44 is like, get your hands off me.
They're
Not
on
happening.
each other in this rep.
Yeah, this was such a great matchup. You said it a couple times already, but really good matchup between a great pass rusher who was draft eligible but didn't enter the draft this year.
And a little spoiler for our listeners, or our watchers, viewers, I should say, not watchers. The next one that we're going to do is Olu Fashanu.
Right.
And Ohio State, once again. So great side-by-side comparison for us, for our viewers, to watch the two top tackle prospects, the ones Titans should be considering at number 7 overall, against the exact same competition.
Right. Here we have Alt on the right side again. He's kind of got beat twice on the right side. He doesn't look quite as comfortable over there.
Well, why would he be? He's a left tackle through and through.
I mean, this just goes to show, like, he is technically perfect and dominant almost every rep on the left side. You put him on the right side. Look at that waist bend. He misses with his initial punch. He almost gets caught holding here, but he doesn't grab, so that's actually good. He doesn't cost the team 10 yards. But look at him here.
This is really interesting, and we don't know that they'll agree. But how worried are we about the Chargers taking him at 5? They'd be moving him to right tackle, right? Like they're not moving Rashawn Slater at this point. They'd be moving him.
I got to be honest. I think if the Chargers are taking a right tackle at 5, everyone who mocks a tackle to the Chargers is mocking Joe Alt at 5. I think they take J.C. Latham. I mean, he is a Harbaugh type of guy, really powerful and strong, not the most technically refined, and has played right tackle his entire career at Alabama, a guy you don't have to project.
I've been saying it for weeks. They either stick at 5 and take Marvin Harrison Jr., if he's there, if quarterbacks truly go 1 to 4, or they trade with the Vikings for 11 and 23, and they go J.C. Latham at 11. Because they know they can get it. And if they don't get him, it's probably Talise Fuaga, another plug-and-play right tackle that they're not moving. And then they can come back and get a receiver at 23.
That's very true. That would probably be the ideal
not
draft.
There at 5, you take Mitchell or Thomas Jr. at 23.
Yeah.
That's the route they're going to go. You watch. Tackle at 11, receiver at 23. If Marvin Harrison's not there at 5.
All right, here we go. The go-ahead play for Notre Dame here. 8 minutes left in the game. Again, Alt on 44 for Ohio State. Again, creating a ton of room for his quarterback to operate.
Yeah.
And touchdown back of the end zone.
What more do you want?
Did Notre Dame win this game? I guess they did.
No, they lose this game. They lose this game 17-14.
Oh, my God. There's 4 minutes left. They have the ball.
Well, they didn't have Derrick Henry to ride it out. So
yeah. Look, 3:50 left. They're up 4 points. Whew. I mean, they are just trying to grind.
See it, thankfully, because we're analyzing Joe Alt here in the offense only. Yeah. But unfortunately, they will blow this game. Ohio State's going to come back. It's part of the reason I wanted to do it. I didn't want a cupcake where not only is the opponent tough, but it's nice to see what he did against tough competition in a game that they actually lost.
And it's nice to see here, we got to see your trailing obvious passing situation, go ahead drive. Now we see the 4-minute offense here, and like the defense basically knows run is coming. How do you execute in those situations? Here, gets his hands on the rusher again, or the edge defender, and just creates a hole. I mean, the running back's not going that way, and eventually that guy does make the play, but you're 10 yards downfield at that point.
Yeah.
This is a good rep. Got a first down there, 1st and 10 again here. How the hell did they lose this game? They must turn the ball over. What happened here? Oh my God, they give up a sack? It's not even a pass play? Is it an RPO? I guess it is. Everyone's blocking downfield. There's no way this is a designed pass play. What the hell happened? They just got blown up.
Here's your answer of how they lost this game, right? They got way behind the sticks after this miscommunication and forced to punt the ball back. Ohio State's going to go down and score a touchdown. Well, now
God.
Now you got to throw it because what was it? What was that?
Second and 15. Second and 15. You don't have to throw the ball. There's only 2 minutes left. But I thought it was
2nd and 20. It looked like he had lost more yards than 5 on the first down. But
I guess they're thinking we'll call a safe throw, just a little screen pass here, but Almost picked off. Oh my god!
And it's 44, right? The one that's been facing all game long.
Yep, they put him on the other. They put him on the other side, and look at how much more effective he is able to make a play when he's not matched up with Joe Alt.
It's a good example of what kind of playmaker he is, right? To put into context for our viewers what this matchup was like between him and 44.
And here we see him. This is probably the last rep of the game, I'm guessing. Yes, there's only 20 seconds left. Goes up to the second level again to pick off this linebacker. I mean, the running back's not making a lot of ground here, but Alt is got the linebacker 10 yards off the line of scrimmage down there, just locked in.
Blowing him off the ball.
Oh, we get to see the last play of the game with 1 second left, Notre Dame trailing by 3.
Can he hold for the Hail Mary?
Oh, they went with the hook and lateral play. Oh, Sam.
That's not going to finish well.
All right, we did it. We got through that tape. So let's talk about final takeaways for Joe Alt. I mean, I don't think there is a better option for the Titans at 7 in this draft. I think the biggest concern is that somebody else takes him before the Titans get a chance. Because, look, this is only one game. It's small sample size, but we got to see a lot of things on tape. We got to see anchoring and pass protection, picking up stunts, pulling in the run game, even lining up on the right side of the line, climbing to the second level, basically everything you could want to see. The only thing we didn't get to see on this particular tape, outside of that one rep where they ran the misdirection screen, is how he does running out in space on screens like that. But we know he can do it.
He's such a good athlete, right? I mean, the combine numbers speak for themselves. They ran a zone blocking scheme, so it's pretty obvious that he's very comfortable in space. The one point I wanted to make a few weeks ago, I haven't had a chance to make. I'm not overly concerned about it because we're talking about a really early pick here. It's never a great thing when you're locked into one guy. Like if the rest of the league thinks the Titans are taking Joe Alt, like I remember last year, it was the Jets. Everyone thought the Jets were going to take Broderick Jones, right? It was so obvious. So what happens? The Patriots got the pick right in front of them. A little bit more unique there, division rival. You just saw the smirk on Bill Belichick's face when he traded out of that pick with the Steelers. So the Steelers can jump ahead of him and take Broderick Jones. Like the Jets had pigeonholed themselves into needing a tackle so bad in that draft. They didn't get him. It killed their whole season for the most part, right? Or partially killed their season. So the Titans are in that position. They are, right? Where I think the mock drafts are accurate. I think it's pretty obvious they should be targeting a guy like Joe Alt. I mean, I don't know who's playing left tackle. I did an article on Broadway the other day, BroadwaySportsMedia.com, ranking the depth chart as is, assigning a letter grade. I got to tackle. I didn't even realize they have 3 tackles on the roster right now. Like they've got like 9 inside linebackers. A bunch of them you probably forgot they're on the team. But like they've got a team. You would think they got 3 tackles on the whole roster right now.
Yeah, and
Friere, Duncan, and a Joku. That's all they have under contract.
I just want to point out for our loyal podcast listeners.
I gave it an F, if you're wondering.
Yeah, for our loyal podcast listeners who've been listening to this show for a long time, I just want to point out, you're counting Dylan Radins as a guard, so I'll take a little victory bell.
You know what? Callie called him a guard the other day. Callahan, which surprised me a little bit. Callahan called him a guard. It's a time that I concede that battle. It doesn't sound like one I'm going to win anytime soon.
All right. So anything else, or you want to call this a video on Joe Alt and get on to the next one?
No, I enjoyed the heck out of this. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I think you're going to enjoy this. Really educational. Graver can't help himself. Like we're trying to get through these a little quicker because we're going to do a bunch of them over the next few weeks. And of course, he's busting out the pen and drawing on the screen which way Joe Alt's going. It's great. It's great for you guys. Probably not great for him when it comes to editing this a little bit later. But we can't help it, man. We're here to deliver great content. You guys have been so great. The show's been growing a lot on YouTube lately. We're blown away by the numbers that the videos are doing. We're full-blown draft season now. This is my bread and butter. Graver loves this as well, as you can see once we dive into the tape. A bunch more of these to come. You guys want to see Malik Neighbors? We're going to do it. You guys want to see Olu Fashanu? We're going to do it. We're going to cover a bunch of Roma Dunze. We're doing it. So keep checking to the YouTube channel for all of those. And we're probably going to do Patrick Paul. If they don't take tackle at 7, he's a prime guy at 38. We might do J.C. Latham, Talise Fuaga as trade down targets potentially. So a lot of these educational videos coming your way for prospects at positions of need that the Titans are going to consider in the 2024 NFL draft.
And drop a comment below. Let us know who else you want to see. We want to give you what you guys want. So let us know who you want us to break down going forward. We are going to do Ola Fashanu next, but let us know who else you want us to break down and we'll get those videos out. So Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, the Music City Audible Podcast, so when our next breakdown comes out, you get a notification. You'll know right away. You'll never miss a video. And thanks to Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville and Bluegrass Beverages in Hendersonville for sponsoring this breakdown. Head to Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville or head to the Sinkers Beverages website, sinkersbeverages.com, or you can check the link in this episode description and join the Sinkers In crowd to get access to allocated wine and spirits, exclusive events, early access to barrel releases, and more. That'll do it for this one. Until next time, y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.
A Broadway sports media production.